Welcome to the History Park Bernau. I have here with me a sword made by Lukas Mästle-Goer, and he was asking my opinion on it as a swordsman. It's got really nice handling characteristics, so using the sword is a sheer pleasure. You can accelerate it really nicely. It nicely moves around its pivot points. So in terms of fencing, I really like this blade. Overall it's very light, but it has a solid blade presence, which is really good for fencing with blade binds, because it makes it easier for you to control a bind and gain the center as you deal with the opposing bind and gain the advantage. The sword is, I would say, it's a mix between a Type 12 and a Type 14 sword. The Type 12, I'd say, what qualifies it as a Type 12 is a slender, nice blade and the fuller running up to here. Type 14 swords have a similar shape regarding the hilt. However, it would be much bigger. The crossguard would be much wider on a true Type 14 sword, and also the blade would be wider at the base, which would make for a more pronounced taper, which is typical for Type 14 swords. So yeah, so I'd say that's an amalgam between 12 and the 14. Very nice sword. I don't know much about sword making, but I can tell that the craftsmanship on this one is really superb. The finish of the blade is very pleasing. It's got a nice satin finish, so it's not a real mirror polish. The fuller runs up very straight. It's superb craftsmanship. Now if we look at some of the details, so first off, regarding the crossguard, as you can see, it has a very delicate and nice shape. The blade is set into the crossguard very neatly. However, you do see some modern epoxy glue up here. So this is something that you would of course not find on an original sword. I also would prefer the upper edge of the crossguard on both sides to be somewhat chamfered, because right now it bites into my thumb when I turn the sword like so, which I often do in sword fighting. For instance, if I bind away an opposing blade using the short edge, that's when I feel that this edge is slightly too sharp. But of course, that is something that could easily be remedied by just rounding these edges here, making them a little bit rounder. Then the pommel. What I really like about the pommel is the side view. So if you look at it in profile, you will see that there's a distinct taper from the base to top. Now this is a detail you see on many original swords, but still many modern reproductions don't really feature that. They are of equal thickness all the way up, but you don't see that on original swords. So here you have it, so I really like that. There's a peening block up here, and you can see the end of the tang protruding. I would imagine that one could do an even finer job, so that there's absolutely no gaps here between. I can put my finger and nail under the tang here, so I'd prefer it to be super flat and absolutely smooth here. My main criticism with that sword would be the shape of the pommel. In particular, this hollow ground section here. I find it to be too narrow. So when I'm holding a sword with the ring finger and the little finger, the pinky, I pull the pommel towards the heel of my hand. Now I'm doing motions like this a lot, and I want a nice rest for the pinky on the pommel. Now, as you can see, the pinky rests exactly on the edge of on this edge, and that's inconvenient. The basic idea of a wheel pommel would be for the pinky to rest on the hollow ground section. Okay, so if this hollow ground section would be wider, this would provide the pinky with a nice convenient rest, or just a simple disc pommel with a wide chamfered edge, which is just as authentic. You want that section to be wider. It would also change the aesthetics of the sword in a positive way, because that flat disc section here would of course become smaller as the ground hollow ground section is widened. All right, so that's my main criticism with this sword. Overall, a wonderful weapon. I pick it up any day to fence you, and I'm very much looking forward to more swords by Lukas. And yeah, thank you for your attention, and goodbye.